Good morning, namaskar, sat sri akal, adab. Friends, this is my 189th video. It is also covering the same report, confidential, made by Special Land Officer Jalandhar in 1829. Now, I'll be speaking of this report under wide para 10V, this of the confidential instructions regarding preparation of the journal land register. So these reports were made for every bungalow, each and every. We can all lay hands on these reports. I just mentioned in one of my videos of bungalow number 63, and in coming I'll be mentioning about some more which I have laid hands on. Now this bungalow number 4, subsequently given a number 4A also. That means the grant was divided. Generally, you talk to a DO or an MU or a CO or an IDS officer, he says grant is non-divisible. Two brothers cannot divide the grant. This is what we hear. Now, this is a classic case of the division. This was a proprietor called Dr. Ramnath. The site was originally granted, he says, to Captain Smith, and he occupied this property on 18th April 1851, and he built this house definitely. Short history, brief. So he says from 1851, Captain Smith further sold it to Reverend Price. This is on 8th February 1854. Reverend Price sold it to Lieutenant Colonel Bernard. This is on 24th January 1860. Lieutenant Colonel Bernard sold it to Mr. J. Smith. Dates not mentioned. J. Smith further sold it to Mrs. Smith, or he gifted it. Mrs. Smith further sold it to Mr. Wilkinson. Mr. Wilkinson further sold it in 1902, 24th November, to Mr. Kuchji Mehta. Now, Mr. Kuchji Mehta is selling this bungalow to Mr. E.P.Salt on 19th November 1904. Every date is to be mentioned. Mr. E.P.Salt further sells it to his wife, Mrs. Salt, or wills it to his wife on 4th January 1907. Now Mrs. Salt sells it to LALA Fateh Chand. Now a native is there. This is on 18th May 1918. LALA Fateh Chand further sells it to LALA Dr. Ramnath. This is on 6th August 1928. And Mr. Ramnath, like another bungalow owner, on the making of the GLR 1930, objects to the clause Union of India or Government of India to be owners. So the present proprietor, how he purchased bungalow number 4 and 4A was one of, it appears, a small house on the east, was built in 1909. So prior to 1909, when the original sanctioning came from Cantonment Committee, via a resolution number 27 of 23rd January, this small house was built and it was called bungalow number 4A and is let out to a separate tenant. Up till 1900, there was only one gate on the Albert Road side to this entire bungalow 4 or 4A. But gradually there must have been a permission, and the bungalow number 4A by 21st September 1918 was granted a separate entrance by a Cantonment Committee resolution number 1052. And so on, these numbers were then finally given two different divisions, 4 and 4A. So Dr. Wood, I believe, was the owner, Dr. Ramnath, of both the bungalows, 4 and 4A. Again, the same story is repeated by the Captain Hakim, or what was his name originally, Special Land Officer. And he says, oh, the register of 1846, page number 4. In another document, he was saying page number 76. So this is how he says it was shown that this original house was granted to some Mr. Stock, Mr. Smith, and then finally it moved so on. Now again, this is very important for all Jalandhar cantonment. Now Jalandhar cantonment, when was being acquired, it was acquired on 2 parameters. One, people were compensated, that was financial transactions. The second was, in lieu of their land, they were given land somewhere. So this was the original system of the 1850-1870 Land Acquisition Act, which most of the advocates in the judiciary has not heard of it. We generally talk of the Land Acquisition Act of 1894. Now, under these 2 acts, this kind of a happening used to take place. Further, we have those letters, Appendix C, land records, and so on. And then finally, that Pune Ghaswala case is mentioned. Here it is very important. Again, this bungalow went under resumption by the same orders of the Government of India, which is lying with me, and it is on the report as Appendix D. Copy of letter number 64, home, dated 25th February 1900, from Revenue Secretary to Government Punjab to the General Officer commanding 3rd Lahore Division. In reply to your letter dated 15th November 1912, I am directed to convey sanction to the resumption of site bungalow number 67 held by LALA Narsingh Das in Jalandhar cantonment. So similarly, this bungalow also gets into resumption. Now, what is after resumption that is being given back? We all can dig in our records. I've been shouting on my top of my voice. People are so lazy, they don't even watch. They are not even my subscribers on my YouTube. What to talk of being serious? We actually work on the principle of rocket. When our ass is on fire, everybody will rise, and then we'll start talking of, sir, what do we do, Ronnie ji? Or we'll run into our advocates who will simply say, find a suit for declaration, become a plaintiff. Why? What do we get after doing all this? Every onus moves to us. GLR speaks against us. So what do? So please guys, wake up. We are old grants, we are HORs, never converted into new grants. This is the story of another bungalow in Jalandhar. Please remember. Thank you.